Oh, hey, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning, Paulo.
Good morning.
And good morning to everyone in the Totally Gagged universe here. Welcome. This is our first morning after reaction. There were some
Yeah.
events on the episode that warranted a very quick response. So, Paulo, I just want to comment. You look like a rock star today. You look like someone's tweet just got posted on dailymail.co.uk.
I'm actually just trying to channel my my inner Jackie Cox. I'm just kidding.
I can see.
But I am drinking from a Twitter mug today because I did tweet something out yesterday and some people got mad.
And Twitter's been a bit of a storm with the issue. Why don't you tell us what you tweeted and kind of like give us a little recap on what's going on?
Okay, so I tweeted last night near the end of the episode. I said, Jeff Goldblum's comments on RuPaul's Drag Race tonight was unfortunate. Such a simple, misinformed take on an entire religion. Lots of room for improvement for him, ... and America. And of course, all the courageous, faceless, nameless bots and like idiots in America decided to just like attack me about like if I whether or not I know that Islam treats their women and LGBT folk like incorrectly, which is like absolutely not what I was trying to say at all. I know that parts of Islam, like every fucking religion, treats women and treats the LGBT community with disgusting, like with disgust. It's and death. So that's not the point at all. My point was the treatment of Americans who are also Muslim in like democracies like America. And I didn't even bash him. I just said that there's a lot of room for improvement and that his take was a very simple, misinformed take on one entire religion. So that's what that was. It got into the Daily Mail, which is like whatever. But that's not the point. The point is what he said last night and what he did last night.
So do you want to read what his comments were, and let's give everyone a sense of, I guess,
okay.
If you saw the show, maybe you recognized it. It happened so quickly, and I think a lot of people didn't catch it, but
okay.
I found it to be a very uncomfortable moment. So why don't you take us through it?
Yeah. So So first of all, Jackie Cox came out on the runway with a hijab, which is a traditional dress of Muslim women all over the world, including here in Canada and in the U.S. And it was fucking beautiful. Like it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. And and the theme of the night was stripes and stars.
Yeah.
And like very American. And so her point was, I too, as a Muslim, actually she's a Muslim Canadian with a green card to the U.S., but her parents and her mom.
Her mother is American. Yeah.
Exactly. So she was saying people like us should have representation and visibility in this country, which is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous message, and it's not just her; it's everybody else who's in a minority group, which I found really beautiful. And so when it came to the criticisms, Jeff Goldblum said, well, he first asked, "Are you religious?" Which is part of why I'm kind of angry this morning and last night. And then he goes off, and she said, "No, like no, like not really." And then he goes off to say, well, because it's really interesting that you're like dressed in Muslim like wear while they treat women and LGBT folks like all over the world like with death and disrespect.
Yeah.
So why don't I'm gonna take a pause because I need to kind of catch my breath because it really infuriated me for several reasons. But why don't you just kind of take first stab at that?
Okay. Sure. So yeah, as soon as it happened, it was an uncomfortable moment. And the thing that I felt was like, the way he framed his question was also very protective. And it really kind of made me wonder, like, he knows he's venturing into an area that might be seen. Like, it's almost like there was some self-awareness around the types of comments that he was making. But he went and made them anyway, and he framed them like is like in a question. So he didn't say this is my feeling. but he made this question: aren't they anti-gay and anti-women or something to that effect? And he's like, am I just saying something stupid here? So it's kind of,
Yeah. Oh, that's what he also said that. My apologies. He said, yeah, he's like, oh, or maybe I'm being stupid or
maybe I'm
something.
being stupid. And it was
Yeah.
like, the thing that made me uncomfortable. So that was uncomfortable because I was like, yes. But then when the camera went back to Jackie Cox, and I don't know if this was just part of the editing, but she looked uncomfortable and she was standing there. And I was just like, that I have experienced this. Like, I think a lot of us as gay individuals have had experiences where when people from the straight world have been like, yeah, I love the gays and I'm not homophobic and blah blah blah, and then they say something that's kind of like kind of not very right, but I haven't had the courage to kind of say, you know what, let's talk about this. And I felt like that was the part of the situation, and she was in a position where she doesn't want to stir the pot. Like, she's in a competition.
Exactly. She missed an opportunity though, I think.
Yeah.
Like, listen, she's a lovely person, and like, she's very Canadian, right? Like, she doesn't shy away from that. Like, funny enough, the competition that she did last night, she pretended like she was a Canadian running for president, like during the competition. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of funny. Okay, so my problem is this. Okay, how many queens, and like, even just outside of like RuPaul's Drag Race the ecosystem, like, how many Christians that are also gay, like, talk about God, and like, they thank God in their like speeches, in their runway speeches, on, like, you know what I mean? Like, how many Christians are also gay? And
Yeah.
are we going to ignore like the far right religious Christian base in America and around the world, and their treatment of gays, and like, and any other minority group, really, for that matter? Like, right now, like, are people living under a rock in America, like, and with the leader that they have,
Yeah.
like, amplifying hate and difference among everybody who is not white, like, in America right now? Like, really?
Well,
So
yeah,
so that's my point. My point is just like, yes, there are Muslims in the world who view Islam as a vehicle for hate and destruction among minority groups. 100%. So, like, so do Jewish people. So do Catholics. You know what I mean? Like, every single religion has segments that are disgusting, but like, there are so many like loving, peaceful Muslims and Christians and Jewish people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's how are we only talking about one religion right now when someone walks out with a hijab on their head? You know what I mean? Like, it's gross. He didn't even frame it that way either. He was just like, it was misinformed and very simple. And that was my point yesterday.
yeah, I can't remember the tweet or one of the tweets that was in the Daily Mail piece that someone had
Yeah.
said, and I just loved it because I always love a comical slant on anything, even if it's a serious issue. I just love it.
I know this is like way too serious. We're about
I
entertainment. We're
always
not
love
about.
comical slant to things because I always like, okay, let's talk about it, but let's have a chuckle if we can. And and here's the chuckle.
Okay, let's laugh.
I'm here for the drag race, or I'm here for the drag race, not for the casual Islamophobia from Jeff Goldblum's tweets.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah. Oh man.
preach.
Yeah. I know.
And that's exactly what it is. It was just like, and that's the irony here, is because this season has really been a very political and very American oriented to the election this year.
Yeah,
And
rightfully
this
so.
episode,
It's
this
timely.
episode in particular was very much about like politics. And here we go with like a really typical American viewpoint on Islam 10 years ago. I think this is so 10 years ago, and I felt like we've gone past this, but
No, but Brian, but when Trump came in office, like, one of his first things that he did was put in the Muslim ban.
hold on.
Like, with
Hold on. When I mean 10 years ago, I'm not meaning Republicans and conservatives.
Oh, okay,
I
okay. You mean like the
Yeah,
general? Okay, got it.
This was a very, still a lot of people on the left and a lot of people that were like Democrats 10 years ago, or give or take, kind of had this viewpoint. And I remember there was a lot of like, everyone was learning a lot and about that issue. And it's like, I feel like it should be a non-issue. I'm not talking about conservatives or Republicans. Like I don't expect people the far right on this issue to ever really grow.
Yeah. You know what what I find really interesting in a season that is all about American politics, on an American show, it was a Canadian that ignited this conversation. Right, like Jackie Cox is Canadian, so like I just find that so interesting on its own. Like, you know, like everybody else is American and they're talking about politics and it was a Canadian that has effectively sparked the debate, and what I think is started to scratch at the scab of America, right, which is the treatment of others in America, or not others, but like others that don't look like the white person, the Christian white person in America. You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
Yeah. I hope that Jackie takes this opportunity to continue the conversation. I went on her Twitter feed yesterday, and she didn't shy away from it. But I think to your earlier point, Brian, I think she missed an opportunity. She she tweeted out by something like, I'm with, or I stand with all of my LGBT and Muslim brothers and sisters around the world. I don't know if that's the point. It's not being with both, right? It's actually being a really good spokesperson on the intersection of people's lives. You can be religious and gay at the exact same time. You don't have to choose one. You don't have to choose being black and a lesbian. You can be both.
But
you know what I mean?
I have a final comment.
People's lives are complicated.
Yeah,
People's lives are complicated.
I have a final comment on that, and it's a bit like, I'm usually a very optimistic person, but it's a bit pessimistic viewpoint towards Jackie Cox. Is that, yeah, she made a response that alludes to, like, she knows the issue, but she didn't take a firm stance on it. And to me, that just seems like, you know, there's a chunk of the audience out there who was watching the show and attacked you on Twitter. And I feel like it was a safe position for her to take. And that kind of, I think that's, I don't know if that's the case. I could be way off base. And I don't think it's, and if I am, then so be it. We're not talking about drag costumes now. We're not talking about, you know, like, I can say what I say in tongue in cheek about the performance.
Yeah.
This is about some serious political issues, and I'm not making these comments heavily. So
yeah, and that's a really good point, Brian. And at the end of the day, this is her livelihood. You know what I mean? Like, how many drag queens have gone on from this show to create like careers, right? Like almost everybody. So she has to. It's like a pro athlete, right? Like speaking on issues that are controversial. And politicians for that matter, right? Because they need votes and they need a career. So, you know, she is probably playing it safe because she knows that there's a lot at stake here for her career. But my point, and my last point on this is, there's a lot at stake here, like from a humanity perspective and the way we treat each other. And we need champions, and she's got a platform to do that. And I really hope that in the next couple of months, weeks, years, that she takes this on, because I think she's going to get a lot of fans and she's going to get a lot of love and support from people like us.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too here, and I know you feel the same way, but I don't want people out there to think that like we're just jumping and creating this Jeff Goldblum hate wagon. Like, we think
no, I don't hate him.
This is ignorance, and this is an opportunity to talk about something and to
learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And exactly, Brian. Yeah. We're just like two gay bros that like kind of want to love people. Okay, that's enough. Whatever.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, I love it. I love you. I love Jackie Cox. I love Jeff Goldblum. Just not some of the things he says.
Thank you so much.
And happy
Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
It's so sunny out. I'm on the patio. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Bye.